It's the Hard Hitting Podcast, covering everything New Britain sports. Now here's Jeff Testanero.
Welcome to this episode of the Hard Hitting Podcast, part of the Hardware City Sports Network. I am Jeff Testanero, and I would like to invite you to share this podcast. Share on YouTube, share on your socials. Like, subscribe. We're on every single podcast platform on planet Earth. So there's no reason to not listen or subscribe or just kind of follow along. If you're watching on YouTube, I invite you to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you to those that already have. But we need more. The more the better. Let's get it going. Had a big week so far. We're only about halfway. Big news sports news week in the city of New Britain. Very, very big week in New Britain sports. The Blue Devils, they handled St. Francis last Saturday to increase to 2-1 on the season. We'll discuss that and break down that game, the Blue Devils against St. Francis, and preview the Blue Devils matchup against Merrimack on Saturday. But first, some great news concerning the future of baseball in New Britain. I'm sure, as you know, if you don't know, I'm going to tell you, New Britain is a baseball city. New Britain has always been and will always be the capital of baseball in at least central and northern Connecticut. You know, Norwich, rich baseball history, big rivals of the Bees, the Sea Unicorns. Love to the Sea Unicorns. Hopefully you can get something going with the city of Norwich and baseball can also live there. But it was announced on Tuesday that the New Britain Bees and the city of New Britain have signed a new 5-year deal securing the future of baseball in New Britain. The Bees will stay at New Britain Stadium, Beehive Stadium, if you will, for at least 5 more years, barring some massive catastrophe. Yeah, never say never. It's the New Englander in me. Never say never. But 5 years signed with the city of New Britain for the Bees, securing the future of New Britain sports, New Britain baseball, for years to come. I am so excited. I'm even wearing my Bees hat. So exciting. New Britain, in case you didn't know, used to be a minor league city, a double-A city. I can remember all the way back to the New Britain Red Sox that played in old Beehive Stadium. The Hive, currently where New Britain High School resides for their baseball team. I remember the New Britain Red Sox, and then it was, the New Britain Rockcats. I remember the Rockcats, the Hardware City Rockcats, back to the New Britain Rockcats. Future was real bright. Team was real good under the Minnesota Twins when they were the Twins AA affiliate. Of course, the Rockies came in and took over in the last few years of AA baseball in New Britain. Made a commitment to the city of New Britain, and then thumbed their nose at the city of New Britain and built, I gotta say, I'm sorry, that gorgeous ballpark up in Hartford, and moved the Rockcats up to Hartford and became the Yard Goats. Same state, different city. Bees showed up, independent Atlantic League team. Now they're a Futures League team. I have said in previous episodes, and I have said to friends at the ballpark, I was worried. I was worried, just as everybody should have been worried about the future of baseball in New Britain. of the Bees' future in New Britain. The advertisers on the outfield wall have basically become non-existent. The beer garden's selection has become basically non-existent. It's still standing. The ballpark is still standing. The crowds have been getting a little smaller, but not much. The merch shop has almost basically become non-existent. So get some new merch, please. I want a new Beast jersey. Thank you. Please and thank you. I appreciate that. So I, for one, as a fan of the New Britain Bees, had been getting really worried about the future of Bees baseball in New Britain. I knew the lease was coming up. And all those factors just pointed to, will there be some sort of baseball team in New Britain Stadium? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. A fresh lease agreement between the New Britain Bees and the city of New Britain. Strong signal that professional or high-level amateur collegiate summer baseball will remain part of the city's sports landscape for the next few years. Some main takeaways, from the deal, the home is secured. Multi-year lease locks the New Britain Stadium and the Bees, ensuring the team won't need to relocate or suspend operations. Thank goodness. Maybe now this will lead to more sponsors because we have more of a comfortable cushion now. Hopefully this will drive season ticket sales. I would love to see more of you out at the ballpark, not just for playoff games, regular season games. Job security for the office and the staff. They can now plan long term, knowing that the franchise of the Bees will stay put. Just good, wholesome, consistent family summer entertainment for the area. Residents can count on affordable, family-friendly baseball nights, community events each season. Now maybe more businesses and more in the area, not just New Britain, but Newington, Berlin can get on board with the Bees, help kind of boost the economy. I mean, there ain't much. I know the Burger King's always hopping. If you go over the highway into Berlin, there's a Burger King that my son and I always go to after games. Good times. Summer intern jobs are guaranteed for the college kids that run everything. Seasonal jobs at the stadium remain available. It's just good all around. I mean, tickets $9, between $7 and $9 at the box office. They were free. They let people in for free to the playoff games and the championship games against Norwich. I mean, that's pretty rad. The lease renewals, it includes a commitment. It's a commitment by the city and the team for the future. Not quite sure about stadium upkeep and improvements. Maybe some new seating. Maybe we can fix that video board out in the outfield, instead of having it just off. Maybe now the team with the new 5-year deal can, look for more local investments to keep, upkeep for the park, keep the park attractive, host a little more special events beyond Bees games, concerts, high school championships. Put New Britain versus Berlin in there for baseball. We go. Maybe some exhibition games for the goats. Why not? Just something beyond baseball. keep it floating. You know, there's a lot of development opportunities. You know, helps grow and maintain a strong local fan base. Neil will help on the maintenance of and maintaining on the facility. But I know that, both my sons go to a baseball camp every summer, hosted by the Bees, put on by the Bees players in the stadium. And now I know for at least the next few years they can keep going to those. Helps keep New Britain on the radar for maybe other baseball ventures, college tournaments, minor league exhibitions, and it's hard to compete with Duncan Park and what AA ballparks are supposed to look like, but maybe a single A team can come into New Britain. Why not? Maybe we can grow this thing. You know, the city has to have a willingness, to further promote the team, but a 5-year deal shows the city's willingness to sign a multi-year lease and demonstrate its commitment to baseball as the main family activity in the city of New Britain. This is a wonderful, wonderful thing, and if you can't tell by the sound of my voice, I am really happy that this is going on. I love baseball. I love the game of baseball. I love going to baseball games. I love, the crack of the bat, and you're sitting in the crowd, whether it's afternoons. I prefer nighttime games because it's really hot in the summer. But sitting there and the sun's going down, you're hanging out, drinking a beer, watching some ball, eating a dog. For me personally, there's nothing more relaxing than chilling at the ballpark, got the fam with me, and I'm watching a game of baseball. Baseball is a beautiful, beautiful game. And it is wonderful that New Britain gets to keep that tradition alive. Bottom line is, the new lease doesn't just keep the Bees on the field, it keeps baseball firmly woven into the fabric of New Britain's identity, sustains local economic benefits and possible growth, lays the groundwork for potential future growth of the sport in New Britain. Because New Britain is the baseball capital of this state. Yeah, I said it, Norwich. I'm sorry. Speaking of that, Norwich, make your commitment to the Sea Unicorns now, please. Just get it done. Just get it done. Bees Sea Unicorns games are exciting. I was so stoked when the Bees went to the finals of the Futures League and they were playing Norwich, now the 2-time defending champions, local in-state rivals. I haven't made it down to Norwich for a Bees Unicorns game, so sign that lease with the Unicorns so I can go down there and watch the Bees play. Wonderful. This is just wonderful. Very, very excited. Baseball is alive and well in the city of New Britain. 5-year deal for the Bees, keeping them in New Britain Stadium. With that, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to both the podcast and the HCSN YouTube channel. We're also on Facebook, so follow us there. So go get that done. Let's transition now to some CCSU football. Central 31, St. Francis out in Pennsylvania 7. Absolutely great. 31-7, Blue Devils. There's some major turning points and takeaways. Big momentum shift came in the third quarter after the 98-yard drive by St. Francis to tie. CCSU responded with a touchdown and then another before the quarter ended, which pretty much ended the game between the Blue Devils and St. Francis. 5 turnovers by St. Francis. 5 turnovers. So the CCSU defense was stellar. It was great. And I'm sorry. I know you tied the game in the third, but the Blue Devils came down and they broke your back with a touchdown, 2 touchdowns in the third to kind of put it out of reach. But you lost the game after at least 2 turnovers. You can't commit. You really can't commit. I want to say, I might be stingy on this one, 2 or more turnovers and expect to win a football game. It just can't happen. It's nearly impossible to come back from that kind of performance. I know it looked like St. Francis could have, but you can't. I'm sorry. The Blue Devils converted multiple turnovers into points. When the team turns turnovers into points, you might as well just kiss it goodbye. Defensive takeaway margin, 100% decided this game. The Blue Devils had a balanced attack, effective passing. They closed the running game in the red zone. Great execution. In contrast, stark contrast to the struggling St. Francis offense and defense. Made a few big plays, but nothing came of it. Now CCSU opens conference play strong, 1-0 in the NEC, continuing momentum as the defending NEC champions. Looking good, got a little confidence. 2 in a row, 1-0 now in your conference. You really can't beat that. You really, really can't beat that. For St. Francis, the loss underscores challenges, turnover margin, depth, consistent offensive production. Also noted in multiple reports, this is expected to be their final season as a full NEC division member before transitioning down to a Division III school. So St. Francis calling it a day, and they're going to downgrade after the season to a Division III. Do what you got to do, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of giving up on, if you ask me, but whatever. This Saturday, the Blue Devils take on Merrimack. Central Connecticut, again, coming off a 2-1 record. 1-0 in the NEC. Merrimack are 1-2 as of now. And they're competing as FCS Independents. So this is not a conference game for the Blue Devils. The last matchup between these two teams was November 11th, 2023, where Merrimack beat CCSU 35-24. So the Blue Devils looking for a little bit of revenge. A little bit of revenge for that loss. So, yeah, don't want to go 2-2. Go 3-1. 3-1, Blue Devils. There's a lot of strengths. Good recent momentum in conference play for the defending NEC champion Blue Devils. The Blue Devils offense showing capability, especially through their passing and receiving core. Players like Brady Olson and key receivers and rushers are making impacts. Defensive side has potential if they force more turnovers like they did against St. Francis. And they limit some big plays. Convert those turnovers into points. Just do it. If you're going to make the turnover, you're going to force a turnover, you might as well convert it. It doesn't matter if it's 6, 7, or 3. Just do it. Get something on that board. Hate to go back to week 1 and the humbling experience the Blue Devils faced against the UConn Huskies. But they floated back. They came back in. They're playing good. 1-0 in the NEC. It seems that the Blue Devils have tweaked some of those defensive issues that popped up against the Huskies. But only consistency will show that. Only time will tell. Need some consistency. Offense needs consistency, turning drives into points. especially in the second and third quarter, where the Blue Devils seem to get a little watered down and lackadaisical. Seemed to start strong, but they did it against St. Francis in the third, scoring 2. Merrimack's strengths is a balanced offense with some playmakers. The quarterback is good, showing some ability passing and rushing. Got some wide receivers who can stretch the field. Special team has good moments from a Merrimack. Some challenges are the passing game that can be inconsistent and turnovers. So maybe the defense can force some of those, and the Blue Devils offense can swing that in their favor. Some key matchups for this Saturday's game. How Brady Olson fares against the Merrimack's defensive backs is super duper important. If CCSU can complete passes and avoid big mistakes, they gotta keep these drives alive. They gotta keep the drives alive. Now, if the Merrimack can establish the run and sustain drives, keeping Olson and the offense off the field for the Blue Devils, control the game, try to exploit some potential Blue Devil weakness on defense. If you ask me, this is going to come down to a defensive battle. Who can keep the other offense off the field? Who can really just drop the offense on their head? You know, the Blue Devils, if they play like they played against St. Francis, this shouldn't be a problem. But they got to play like they played. St. Francis not strong. Again, they're going to drop to D3 after the season. But a little confidence in the defense. You know, whoever wins the turnover battle will win this game. I personally expect a close to moderately competitive game. They are in New Britain, so the Blue Devils have home field advantage. They have some conference play rhythm now. They have some motivation and some drive on both sides of the ball. They did bounce back well from that shellacking from the Yukon Huskies. If they can play some high-powered, fast-moving offense, they'll be good. Merrimack has got to try to slow the game down against the Blue Devils. If Merrimack can slow the game down, they got a better chance to pull out a win in New Britain on Saturday. Now, if I had to guess, it's going to sound like a homer pick, but I'm doing it. CCSU will pull it out by a touchdown or so. 1 or 2 touchdown game. I'm calling it now, between 7 and 14 point win for the Blue Devils. CCSU hockey starting in a few weeks. That's exciting. You got some girls soccer, got some men's soccer going on also this coming weekend. So there's that. If you get a chance, head on over to the campus and watch the Blue Devils take on Merrimack this Saturday. Other than that, I thank you for joining me today. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Get this pushed upwards and onwards. So, for the Hard Hitting Podcast, I'm Jeff Testanero. Enjoy your day.
The Hard Hitting Podcast is a member of the Hardware City Sports Network.